Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Game Week 12 is almost upon us, so let's go through who I think are the best teams and players to target going forward, my team selection plans, and some potential transfers I might make before the deadline. First of all, I want to give a massive shout out to everyone who interacted with the Game Week 12 Wildcard video. You smashed the like goal. It's a massive week for wildcards, so if you haven't seen the video yet, you can check it out here. Let's get the video to 10 likes again, and before we get into Game Week 12, let's take a look at how Game Week 11 went. Another Salah haul unfortunately means another red arrow. I got 43 points altogether, putting my total up to 628, and our rank fell from 1.3 million to 1.8 million. As you can see, the pain didn't stop this week, with my sub-goalkeeper getting 9 points. I highly doubt I'm the only one that missed out on these points from Fabianski. But in hindsight, actually playing against Everton was probably a lot better fixture than Raya's fixture against Chelsea, so I've only got myself to blame for that one. The pain continued when Trent Alexander-Arnold got taken off in the 24th minute with an injury, and Liverpool actually ended up keeping a clean sheet. The same happened in the Man United game. Dalot got taken off in the 56th minute, so he missed out on his clean sheet points by about 3 minutes. Slightly frustrating considering he's played 90 minutes in every other game so far this season. Ait-Nouri was the only defender that got any points for me. In Wolves' 2-0 win over Southampton, he got a clean sheet. Rico Lewis got 0 in Man City's 2-1 loss to Brighton, conceding 2 goals and getting a yellow card. I wasn't expecting a huge haul from Parma in their game against Arsenal, but a blank is still painful. And Semenyo getting no returns in a 5-goal thriller between Brentford and Bournemouth wasn't ideal either. A man that did profit from that game though was Mbeumo. He ended up getting an assist and 5 points. Foden continues to make my life a misery, blanking again. And considering I could have had Salah in from game week 8, which is when I put Foden in, Foden scored 11 points and Salah scored 45. That's not even taking into account captain's points. But FPL is not a game of what could have been. A poor decision was made and I've got to live with it. Haaland ended up scoring pretty early in the game against Brighton, so things were looking pretty positive for points. But by the end, he got a yellow card and knocked himself out of the bonus points. He finished on 10 as my captain. And the real only shining light in the team was my transfer in, Cunha. He scored and got an assist and all 3 bonus points in Wolves' win over Southampton. Anyway, that's enough doom and gloom. Let's hope that Game Week 12 can bring some more positivity and a green arrow. Speaking of positivity, and we've got some good fixture swings in Game Week 12. One of those teams is Chelsea. For the next 10 weeks, from Game Week 12 to 22, I think they've got the best fixture run in the whole league of any team. You can see they're playing all 3 promoted teams in Leicester, Southampton and Ipswich, as well as some teams that are really struggling this season in Everton and Wolves, and even Crystal Palace. This could be a really good time to target their attackers, especially in the likes of Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson. You may even want to look at some of their defensive options, and if I was going to go there, I'd look at the goalkeeper Sanchez at 4.7 million, or somebody like Colwell at 4.5, who's a nailed-on starter at the moment. I will say this though, and that's that Chelsea haven't exactly been a great defence this season. They're actually only the 9th best defensive team in the league in terms of expected clean sheets. So the fixtures look really nice, but maybe not from a defensive point of view. Definitely the attackers though. The next team whose fixtures swing in Game Week 12 are Brighton. They've got Bournemouth in 12, followed by Southampton, Fulham, Leicester, Palace, West Ham and Brentford. And like Chelsea, their strength has been in attack this season, with the likes of Danny Welbeck being the 3rd highest scoring striker so far this season. João Pedro is another one to look at as well at just 5.4 million, just coming back from injury and scoring a goal and getting an assist against Man City. Like I said, their strength has been in attack this season, but if you want to go for some of their defenders, there is value there. Verbruggen in goal at just 4.5 million could be a good goalkeeper for this run. You've got the likes of Van Hecker and Veltman at 4.5, and also if we hear good news on Dunk returning from injury, then he could be really good value at 4.3 million. Moving on to defenders as a whole, I'm going to run through who I think my top 5 are. Gabriel's pretty much cemented his place as my favourite defender in the game at the moment. Arsenal have got through their pretty tricky fixtures in Liverpool, Newcastle and Chelsea. Now they've got a few easier ones, and we all know what he can do from set pieces. Trent has actually fallen off the list completely for me, and that's not just because of his injury. At 7 million, he hasn't really been getting as many points as I would want for such an expensive asset. I think he's probably unlikely to play against Southampton. Even if he is fit, they will rest him for the game against Real Madrid. So, in that case, if I was going to transfer him out, I would laterally move probably to somebody like Konate or Van Dijk if you've got the money. Because Liverpool are still the best defence in the league. Aït-Nouri is third on the list, and he's probably my favourite of the cheaper defenders, at least the ones under 5 million. That's mainly because of the fixtures. He played Fulham, Bournemouth and Southampton next, but he's also got the best expected goal involvement per 90 out of my list here. Guardiola's a tough one, and I've got him in 4th spot and I've highlighted him yellow because I wouldn't necessarily buy him if I didn't have him, as they play Tottenham and Liverpool next. But if I had him, I wouldn't make it a priority to get him out. Yes, Man City are going through a rough patch, but they are still one of the best teams in the league, if not the best. And we know what he can do with his scoring ability. On the other hand, a City defender that I would look to move away from is Rico Lewis. He's been asked to play so many different roles this season already, I think, because of the injuries that Man City have had. And Pep Guardiola has even said that he's absolutely knackered, and if they didn't have those injuries, he probably wouldn't be playing all those minutes. I've got Lewis Hall in at 5 because I think he is one of the best replacements for Lewis. And at just 4.4 million, he's really cheap. Besides Liverpool in game week 14, where you can put him on the bench, they've got West Ham at Crystal Palace, Brentford, Leicester and Ipswich next. And I think all round, in terms of the mixture of attacking ability and Newcastle's defensive ability, he's my best replacement for Lewis. If you want to go more attacking, then Leif Davis and Luca Digne have the best attacking data out of any defender apart from Trent Alexander-Arnold. Luca Digne, however, is slightly more expensive, and Leif Davis plays for Ipswich, who are an absolutely terrible defence. Moving on to the midfielders, and I just think we've got to look at Bruno Fernandes at the moment, haven't we? He got a haul in game week 11, 17 points, 1 goal and 2 assists. And the game before that against Chelsea, he scored and got 10 points. Man United play Ipswich and Everton next, so if I was looking at any midfielder, it would be him. Despite being yellow flagged, Mbeumo is still up there as well. They play Everton and Leicester next, but after that, Brentford's fixtures get slightly more difficult with the likes of Villa, Newcastle and Chelsea. Definitely a keep for the next couple of weeks, but after that, I feel like some people might consider selling him. I don't think I will personally because of the money I've got tied up in him and the fact that I don't think Mbeumo really matters what fixture he's playing. He can get points in whatever one. Next is Semenyo, and I think he is the best option of the budget midfielders. Bournemouth only have one red fixture from game week 12 to game week 20, and that's Tottenham. So for me, a great enabler at just 5.7 million. If you want to go even cheaper though, Morgan Rogers is another good option. Martin Odegaard has snuck himself onto the list as well. He got an assist in the game against Chelsea, and Arsenal looked so much more creative with him in the team. If you don't have or are not thinking of going with Saka, then I'd really look at Odegaard. I wouldn't have both though, and overall, Saka would be my preference. And the last midfielder to make my top 5 is Anthony Gordon, mainly because of the fixtures. West Ham and Crystal Palace next. And I think 7.2 million is a really good price for Gordon. Isaac for me is probably the best forward in the game at the moment. And if you're looking to move away from Haaland, he would be my number 1 replacement. He's scored 3 games in a row now in the Premier League, and as I said with Gordon, Newcastle's fixtures are looking good. Moving down to the cheaper strikers, and there's some great value in them. These are the kind of players you need if you want to get those 3 premiums in your team. But I do want to talk about one specifically that I think we should think about removing from our teams. Now, unfortunately, I've never had him, but quite a lot of you will have had. And I think your luck is going to run out soon with Chris Wood. You've had a good ride with him, but this is the time that I would jump off. Nottingham Forest fixtures are getting a lot harder, and there are so many replacements around the same price that I think are going to do better over the coming game weeks. And one of them is Matheus Cunha, slightly more expensive than Wood at 6.8. I would have him at number 1 of my strikers below 7 million. Now, I know if you look at the data that I've got across the screen, it doesn't really look that way, but he's so integral to the way Wolves play, and they're so much better when he's on the pitch. The next player is João Pedro, and the mixture of fixtures and the price at just 5.4 million, he's just an absolute steal. As I said earlier, he came back into the team against Man City, scored a goal and got an assist, and I'm sure he's going to nail down a spot again in this Brighton team. We spoke about Chelsea's fixtures earlier on in the video, and that their strength this season has been their attacking, and that's why Nicholas Jackson is in at 4. The mid-priced attackers, he, in my opinion, is the second best just behind Isak, and a potential another replacement if you're going away from Haaland. Visser for me at this point just has to make the top 5. He has some of the best data in the league. His XG per 90 is second only to Haaland, and his big chance per 90 is third in the league for strikers behind Haaland and Watkins. Another great option if you're looking for a cheap striker. Now we've spoken about who I think might be the best options going forward, let's have a look at how my team could line up for Game Week 12. I've got 1 free transfer and 1.9 in the bank, and this is what my team would look like if I wasn't going to make any transfers. We'd have Raya in goal, followed by Dalot, Trent and 8 Nuri in defence. A 5-man midfield with Palmer as my captain against Leicester, Semenyo and Buemo, Rodgers and Foden, and then up top we'd have Haaland and Cunha. And it may not be a surprise to you, but there are some problems in this team, and I do plan on using my transfer. I might even take a -4. I've been looking at moving away from Trent for a few weeks now, and the injury has kind of just sealed the deal for me. But I also think that Foden has run his course and I need to get rid of him as well. If I were to make those 2 transfers, I think I'd have 2 options. It's always been my plan to get Saka in. So my first option would be to take Trent out and replace him with Kanate, and take Foden out and put Saka in, despite him being yellow flagged. Palmer would keep the captaincy against Leicester if I went for this team, and I'd stay with the 3-5-2 formation. I think this is the most likely way I'm gonna go at the moment, but if we find out any more news on the yellow flag players, especially Saka, I may be forced to go down a different route. Another option would be, again, to take Trent and Foden out, but instead replace them with Lewis Hall and Mohamed Salah. Now, at this point, I would switch the captaincy over to Mohamed Salah as Liverpool are playing Southampton. Unfortunately, both options are a -4, but I can't really see myself going down another route than making 2 transfers this week. Let me know in the comments down below what team you think is best and what transfers you think I should make. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel for more FPL content throughout the season. If you're thinking about wildcarding this week, go and check out my latest video to see what I think would be the best wildcard team to go for. And take a look at my new TikTok account under the same name, FPL Pinnacle, for more short form content. Wishing you good luck for the upcoming game week, and I'll see you in the next one.